You guys ready? Everybody's with us? Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I want to welcome my good friend and partner, Colonel Mike Edmondson, Chief Ronnie Surpass, DA Leon Canizero, Sheriff Mike Traig, and other men and women from the New Orleans Police Department, the State Police, and for the officers that are represented by their heads here. Last week, as you know, we had a press conference talking about the success of the multi-agency gang units and partnerships with the federal government and state governments. Today, Colonel Edmondson has more information about other extensive work that we have been doing in partnership with the state police that has yielded a great benefit and helped make the streets of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana safe. Our top priority is to make this city safe. Crime has always been our #1 priority, and we will continue to fight together. The reason we have had success is because of the partnership that has existed between both the federal, state, and local law enforcement, and the state has always been ready and willing to assist us. Today's announcement is the result of a 7-week statewide intensive effort. There are substantial results in the New Orleans area that Colonel Edmondson will go over in more detail, but it resulted in 41 fugitive arrests and over $3 million in narcotics seized. For New Orleans, this is a follow-up to previous work that we have done with NOPD's basic intelligence along with the state police, and I'm really pleased and thankful for the work that they have done to help make the streets of the city of New Orleans safe. On top of that, the state police will continue, as they always have, to add members to our force to protect the city for New Year's, Sugar Bowl, and Mardi Gras. We're going to have over 100 troopers here for the All-Star Game, which is coming up, 60 troopers at the Sugar Bowl this weekend, and they have always been a great and robust partner for all of us, and I wanted to thank Colonel Edmondson and, of course, Chief Surpass, and because of the regional effort, Sheriff Mike Traig is here as well because crime does not know boundaries, and all of the parishes in this metropolitan area all work together through the Fusion Center along with Sheriff Norman and the other sheriffs in this metropolitan area because it's incumbent on all of us to make this entire region safe. So, Colonel, I want to thank you. Chief, thank you for the work that you've done. And now I'd like to turn it over to Colonel Mike Edmondson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to applaud your leadership in the New Orleans area. Certainly, when we talk about public safety, it is the #1 priority. We understand from the public that their need at 11 o'clock at night when they go to bed, they just want to feel safe. They want to cut that light off. They want to feel safe. When they get up in the morning, they get in their cars. They also want to do so. I want to thank the media, #1. We've been involved in this process now for the past almost 7 weeks. There were several cases that were large in the area that y'all knew about, and y'all kept them quiet so we could actually work those cases throughout. I want to thank our sheriffs, certainly Sheriff Mike Traig that's here, and Leon Canizero, certainly for his leadership, the district attorney's office, because that's where it makes a difference. What we truly did, and what this did, I couldn't be any more proud of the men and women that wear this uniform, of the Louisiana State Police, the Sheriff's Office, the New Orleans Police Department, and our partners throughout this area, because that's what truly made a difference. What we actually did, we took all disciplines. This was just basic, good old-fashioned police work coupled with new technology. And it's the wave of the future and the change of a culture that you'll see in law enforcement, especially from a statewide effort. When you look at law enforcement in Louisiana, almost 80% of our agencies have less than 15 officers on the job. They don't have the structure and willpower of the New Orleans Police Department, Louisiana State Police. It has narcotics detectives, intelligence, DNA, crime lab, the Fusion Center. We took all those disciplines. We went out and we took every single warrant that was available in the state of Louisiana, your felony warrants, and we put them in one database so that we truly make a traffic stop. Has that car ever been involved in a crime? The people that own that car ever been involved in a crime? The house that we would go to. We were patrolling the interstate and the highways in the New Orleans area, and we're actually going on calls and assisting the New Orleans Special Operations Divisions and the different patrols around the city. It was truly a united effort where we were all working together. We were sharing resources. We were sharing manpower, and that's what makes a difference. I speak to Chief Surpass almost on a weekly basis about what's going on in our agency. He knows clearly what we're doing. We know what they're doing, and it's a seamless transition. I mean, the public really doesn't care the color of our uniform, the shape of our badge. They just want to know that we're working together. And I can assure you, under the leadership of this mayor, our mayor, that we're making a difference in New Orleans. And we're truly making sure that the #1 priority continues to be public safety. When you look at $6.5 million worth of drugs that were taken off the streets in Louisiana, $3.5 million of them were right here in the New Orleans area. 3 separate traffic stops between Lake Charles and Baton Rouge, each netting over 1 pound of pure heroin. 2 of those stops were heading to the New Orleans area. Of the 112 weapons that were taken off the streets during this time period, 32 of them were right here in the New Orleans area. That's 32 opportunities for citizens to do things that we just simply don't want. And I think when you put all those together, when you look at the ability here, that's where you make a difference. And I've got to spotlight at least one of the cases in Terrebonne Parish, actually in the town of Gibson. We were aware and made knowledge through intelligence of a specific family involved in heavy narcotics. We actually hit 4 of those houses. There was 2 kilos of cocaine, 20 pounds of high-grade marijuana, $150,000 in cash. But the most disturbing part of it were the weapons that were there. There was actually 3 AR-15 rifles, 7 AK-47s, 13 shotguns, 2 handguns, and 13 other rifles that were involved in these 4 houses. That was the ability to take that off the streets to keep things from happening. And that'll be the continuing effort of this agency along, especially in this New Orleans area, and the leadership of our sheriffs to actually where we make a difference in that. And a continuation of this just last week on a traffic stop in Ascension Parish. A traffic stop was made in conjunction with the New Orleans Police Department that resulted in taking someone off the street that was wanted for a murder here in the New Orleans area. It's that type of partnerships that was born out of the leadership of this mayor, this police department, our sheriffs to actually make a difference. So again, Mayor, thank you for allowing us the cooperation, the leadership from you in our city. We're part of this community. We're going to continue to be a part of it, and I look forward to continue working with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Chief Surpass.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, good morning. You know, to begin with, Colonel Edmondson and I both serve as the board of officers in the largest police chiefs organization in the world and the oldest police chiefs organization in the world. Colonel Edmondson and I have known each other for more than 10 to 15 years. His partnership in the New Orleans Police Department has been stellar, and we're very grateful. This particular task force, the men and women of the state troopers worked with our Special Operations Division every night. We were specifically going to those neighborhoods where we knew we wanted to be. The troopers were there with us side by side. I went out with them one night and we served a warrant on a very important case, and they did a tremendous job. When you think about Super Bowl and Mardi Gras and NBA and all the NCAA events and all the issues that come to the city of New Orleans, we are assisted every single time by the state police. And Colonel Edmondson and his entire team dedicate many, many troopers as well as other resources to help to make sure that these major events that we pull off seamlessly in this city for the last 15, 20 months has gone well. I'm very, very appreciative of that. You also must know that as we're in the process of rebuilding our crime lab, the NOPD's crime lab, the mayor's capital budget provides for a new crime lab. We are in a relationship with the state police where we pay 2 scientists to work our cases. I've been asked to do a 3rd one just recently, and we may do that. So this continuing relationship with the New Orleans Police Department and the state police is here. And it's a good relationship, and we're grateful. And we certainly know that during the holiday season, our troopers do an amazing job on the interstate and state route systems throughout the state of Louisiana. Remember, DWI is the event that is most likely to kill. It's completely preventable. And our troopers and officers dedicate themselves to saving people's lives on the road every day in New Orleans and in the state of Louisiana. And I'm very, very proud to be in this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. DA Leon Canizero.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Colonel Edmondson, for inviting me to participate in this conference this morning. You know, from our perspective, we've had an opportunity to see in the last few years a tremendous amount of cooperation with other law enforcement agencies. Not just our police department, but certainly we've seen it from the federal side. We've seen cases that have been brought into our district court that have been made by our federal partners, the FBI, the DEA, and the ATF. Today, we are getting some publicity on another law enforcement agency that is again going to assist us in bringing cases into our criminal district court, the Louisiana State Police. And probably to a larger extent than some of the federal partners that we deal with, we see that these individuals, these law enforcement officials, are involved in what we would consider sometimes what might be a significant violation, a traffic violation. But you just heard how Colonel Edmondson talked about how a traffic violation can sometimes lead to an arrest of someone who is wanted for murder. Not to mention the fact that in many traffic violations, law enforcement officers find guns in those cars. They find narcotics. And those are cases that can be brought into our district court. It's our ability to deal with those cases cases at their very inception, whereby we can literally save the lives of people in this community. If we take the guns and drugs off the street in something which might be as insignificant as a traffic violation, we can literally save a life. We can prevent someone from being murdered down the road. I'm very, very proud to be involved in this. Like I told Colonel Edmondson just a few moments ago, guys, you keep making the cases. I promise you, in district court, we're going to take them in Orleans Parish, and we're going to continue to pursue them. It should also be noted that the Louisiana State Police have been a tremendous assist to us since we have been in office. They've helped us, as the chief alluded to, with regard to the crime lab in Baton Rouge. They have helped us with our DNA testing. They have been the ones that have come into the district courts from Baton Rouge and come and testified to us. We've sent our evidence up there to the crime lab, and they've worked very, very hard and very well with us. So certainly I know the chief is supportive of this. I know it assists our police officers on the streets. It's extremely important, and like I say, we hope to continue to do this. But most importantly, and I know sometimes there is an emphasis to have the law enforcement officials here during what we consider our crowded times of the year, during our Mardi Gras, our Sugar Bowl, our New Year's celebrations. From my very selfish perspective, I want the guys in the blue uniforms here every single day of the week in Orleans Parish. I want them patrolling our streets. I want them working hand in hand with our New Orleans police officers. And I think what the city of New Orleans is going to see, we're going to see a much better and a safer place. And I thank you, Mayor Landrieu, for bringing this together and showing the leadership in this law enforcement effort. Thank you very much.
One of the things, as you can see, is not only has our mission been to fight crime, but the way that we do it is by bringing people together and unifying not only all of the people of this region, but unifying all of the law enforcement agencies. That is the strategy that has yielded great benefit, and that is the strategy that is working today. And of course, Colonel Edmondson gave you a number of examples of how activity outside of Orleans Parish can affect things inside of Orleans Parish. So the 9 surrounding parishes are critical to the safety of the people of New Orleans and vice versa. Now, Sheriff Mike Trague is here. This young man, when he took office shortly thereafter, lost 2 police officers in a horrific set of circumstances that he may recall for you now. It is really important that we continue to work with our brothers and sisters in the surrounding parishes. He's been a great sheriff. He's been a great partner for us. And Sheriff, thank you for coming in today, and it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. As the new sheriff in St. John Parish, 45 days after coming into office, we experienced the worst tragedy a law enforcement agency can experience. Lost 2 officers by the hands of 2 very evil people, a couple of evil people that had some of the most serious weaponry and firepower that law enforcement can come across in our official tour of duties. From that day on, the state police, they have been there with and for St. John Parish and the citizens of St. John Parish since I have been the sheriff 1 year and 6 months. Who's counting? So here I am today, and under the direction of Colonel Mike Edmondson and the state troopers that have come into St. John Parish with such a surge and presence that when I go to homeowners association meetings, the citizens say, what is going on with all of the police officers and all the state troopers that's in St. John Parish? And my response is very simple. Get used to it, because they are here to protect St. John Parish, the citizens, my family, your family, and they do a tremendous job, whether it's DWI enforcement, whether it's window tint enforcement. They have been there. I appreciate their assistance, and we're going to continue working hard to keep St. John Parish safe. I have quickly learned that the criminals do not care where the boundaries, where the parish line may start and stop. And they also don't care what uniform you may wear. So this is a battle not just for St. John Parish, but all of these surrounding agencies and law enforcement officers that do a very good job every day. I think I'm starting to see the benefits. Things have quieted down tremendously in St. John Parish. My officers, along with the state police, just this year alone in St. John Parish, we have taken 129 weapons off the streets of St. John Parish, and we're going to continue that trend. I'm looking very much forward to a 2014, a safe parish. Next year we get together and we can have this conversation again. I can show you the benefits of this continuing partnership and support and presence of the Louisiana State Police in St. John Parish. Colonel Edmondson, thank you very much. and the troopers that come to St. John Parish. Sometimes I don't know if they think they work for St. John or they work for the state police, but they're there for us, backing us up on alarms, pursuits, chases, shoplifting. They have been a tremendous asset, and I look forward to continuing that participation. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right.
We'll take questions on this topic at the podium. Everything else we can do on a pull aside.
Anything?
Can you talk a little bit about what exactly is the difference between Operation Carpe Diem and the typical partnerships you guys have had historically?
Go ahead.
And whether or not that will continue?
I think it's an excellent question, because most people say that's your job every day. So what are you doing differently? And I think what we've been able to do and able to surmise is you've got so many different databases. It's kind of like when a police agency's out there is working, you've got patrol units that are patrolling, answering calls at homes, whether it's a disturbance, whether it's a theft, whether it's an aggravated crime. You've got all disciplines of a law enforcement agency, and they're all doing their own things. But it's kind of like a bicycle. As you're changing gears, it changes down below. Everything's working together. And that's one thing that in the 77-year history of Louisiana State Police, what makes this so unprecedented, is the fact that we've pulled all these disciplines together. That we truly, when we go to a home, we can know, has law enforcement been there? Has there been problems there before? This particular car, we're checking to see, okay, who owns it? Who has owned it? Are there any warrants out there? We've actually got them in one database. 6 years ago, embarrassing as that sounds, we were not sharing databases. You could not go to one location and find all the sex offenders in Louisiana. A police officer, 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon when they make a traffic stop, there was not an actual database 6 years ago that gave them all the information they need about a particular individual. And that's sad. But we've worked so hard that day under the leadership of our governor, of our mayor, of our police chiefs, and our sheriffs to actually pull those together. It was a 30-minute meeting, of which 5 minutes we said, you know what, enough's enough. Let's do whatever it can take to share our database and put that information together so that police officer has the basic information, the basic knowledge. Same thing with our weapons. When you look at the fact that just look at the narcotics totals, look at the weapons totals, look at the individuals been involved in it. When you can pull all those together, when you get the intelligence information, when New Orleans Police Department knows what Louisiana State Police is doing, knows what St. John the Baptist Parish is doing, knows what the other cities and towns and villages and everyone across Louisiana, when they truly know what each other's doing, that's where you make a difference. And the bottom line is we weren't always sharing that information. And it wasn't any one person's fault, nor is one person trying to get the glory of all this, because it's truly everyone working together that says, you know what, we're not worried about that. Let's put the information together and go after it. We know that guns causes a crime, and especially in those situations. We know that narcotics are involved. 80% of your violent crime in Louisiana has two nexus: narcotics, illegal weapons. And when you can remove those from the streets, you can start making a difference. And that's kind of the difference here of pulling that together.
It is my expectation for Chief Surpass and to Colonel Edmondson and to the DA that they work together from the beginning. What used to happen was they used to meet on the street and share information there. Now, before anything happens, we meet. It's the reason why the multi-agency gang unit is working. One of the things that happen is they all meet early. They all plan. They all talk about. They all completely integrate their work. It is the way that we've been doing things in the last couple of years that has made the significant difference. These agencies, before that, would talk to each other after the fact. They wouldn't plan it beforehand. The intelligence wasn't available. Now they're sharing all of that data. We're identifying the individuals up front. We're all creating a strategy for who's going to get them when, where they're going to be prosecuted. And we're beginning to see, just like you see with the multi-agency gang unit and the work that the DA is doing now in conspiracy charges, is we're seeing these gangs in different ways than we've seen them before, being able to identify them, knowing more about them. And it's my hope and my directive to all of the folks that work with and around us, and my hope for those that don't, that we continue that integration from the ground up, and it's beginning to yield pretty significant benefits. We have a long way to go. We all know that we still have challenges, but it's clear that when you see successes like this, that this new way is working very, very well. As Colonel Edmondson say, it's old police tactics using technology, but it's also a new model of delivering services to the public, and it's starting to benefit fairly significantly.
What was different in the last 7 weeks? Like, I understand that you guys are saying you had more cooperation in recent years.
We actually took 160 troopers, pulled them off the streets, pulled them off the patrol around the state, and we said during this 6-week period on a 24-hour basis, we will do nothing but support individual agencies around. We were in every community throughout the state of Louisiana. We were every town, every village. We spent the whole time period with 3 different teams in the New Orleans area and the different surrounding areas in the New Orleans region. So we actually, around the clock, we're doing nothing but looking for narcotics, looking for weapons, and looking for warrants of a felony status and pulling those together. We were actually doing that. Keep in mind, on a daily basis, you can't keep that up because you don't have the manpower initiative to do that. But we wanted to see what would it be like to actually take that and try to do that. As y'all know, we'll start a cadet class January the 12th. We've been cleared by the governor for 50-person cadet class. That starts a process that over the next 5 years we'll have an attrition class each one of those years to put additional troopers on the road. Because here's the deal. When there is not a trooper to go work a crash, who works it? That area sheriff or that police department. And when they do that, that takes them out of the ability to patrol in their individual communities. So we were as high as 1141 troopers. We're now down to 920. We're trying to build those numbers back up. But every time we can put additional police officers out there, it clearly makes a difference and allows the chief, it allows the sheriff to concentrate on their specific areas. What we found on this, by looking simply beyond the traffic stop, looking simply beyond that license plate, we were able to make a difference. And I think it's a change in culture that I think changes the way that law enforcement looks around the state, around the state as well as around the country. 111 police officers were killed in the United States so far this year. 40 of them in a traffic crash, 30 of them by gunfire. Right at 14 state troopers in this country have been killed, over half of them by gunfire. That tells you the problems that we're seeing with the weapons on the street. That's where we can make a difference.
But we're also replenishing manpower on the current. You'll be happy to know that we authorized 5 new classes, so you can have 150 new police officers on the street too. That's going to add to the complement of the 50 that the governor put in his executive budget as well to restore the power on the force in New Orleans.